Alright, this right here is the MSI Pulse GL66, which is powered by the latest Intel 12th gen processors. Now, back when I reviewed the 11th gen variant of it, the Pulse GL66 was one of the best value for money laptops out there. However, is the case still the same with the 12th gen upgrade? Or do you have better options available? Let's find out. This is one from GTR and you're watching my in-depth review of the MSI Pulse GL66 2022 edition. Let's get started. I love smashing laptops like that. Alright, so kicking things off, the design here is the same as the last gen, which isn't really a bad thing. It's a functional design where the laptop is built like a tank and looks quite solid. Now, it's not super flashy as most gaming laptops are with all the RGB lights, so I guess if you want a simpler look, this is a great style. Now, in terms of I/O, over to the left side you have a charging port coupled with a USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 1 port and a USB Type-A 2.0 port. Switching to the right side, we'll get an RJ45 port, a full-size HDMI port, a USB Type-C 3.2 Gen 1 port, another USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 1 port, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. Unfortunately, there is no SD card reader here, nor do you get a Thunderbolt 4 port here. Now that in itself is a little bit disappointing considering the overall price point of this laptop. Anyway, moving along, let's talk about the display. It's essentially one of the best panels that you can get at this price point. You get a 15.6-inch Quad HD display with a high refresh rate of 165Hz. The matte finish here is good and it's an IPS panel, so viewing angles aren't bad either. Content consumption works out fine and gaming on this panel is an absolute pleasure. What's more is that the panel offers a 100% DCI P3 color gamut, which is great if you plan to do any sort of content creation on this laptop. Also, aiding the display department are the 2-watt stereo speakers on either side of the device, but do note that they are bottom firing. Now, I'll be upfront, they're not amazing by any means, but they definitely get the job done. They do creak a little bit at the high volumes, so essentially I would still advise getting a good pair of headphones to pair with this, but for normal day-to-day usage, the speakers are decent enough. Next up, we have the keyboard. You have a full-size keyboard with excellent key travel that feels great to type on. Now, one thing I would like to highlight is that the arrow keys and the numpad keys here are a little bit shrunken in size as compared to the rest of the keyboard. But honestly, after a couple of days with the keyboard, your hands will easily adjust to it. Also, this is a gaming laptop and yes, you do get RGB lighting here. You can customize the lighting using the Mystic Light feature inside the MSI Center app. But do note that this is single zone RGB keyboard, so you do miss out on 4K RGB lighting customization. Now below the keyboard is the touchpad, which can be summarized as a decent touchpad for a gaming laptop. Now what that means is that while all the basic tasks work well, the surface could have been a bit bigger. But then again, you'll be using a gaming mouse with this laptop, so on the off chance that you do need to rely on the touchpad, it should get the job done. Now moving along, let's talk about the performance. Now our unit here comes equipped with an Intel Core i7 12700H processor coupled with 16GB of DDR4 RAM clocked at 3200 MHz. For GPU prowess, you also get the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060 laptop GPU and there's also 1TB NVMe SSD on board for storage. Now one thing I want to clarify is that the laptop that we have here comes with the DDR4 RAM. There's also a 12UEK model of this laptop that comes with the DDR5 RAM clocked at a higher frequency, but that is something that's not readily available. Instead, you'll have to approach the MSI store and then ask for them to basically arrange a unit for you. So yeah, we are talking about the one that's more readily available on all the online platforms. And to be honest, there's not a massive difference in terms of the performance. I mean, I can't compare it with the DDR5 version because I don't have it, but the DDR4 version in itself does not really disappoint. Here are the scores for you. See, the benchmarks are on your screen and as you can see, the laptop does not disappoint at all. The 12th gen processor holds its ground very well and the GPU also outputs great values. As for gaming, the laptop can easily handle AAA titles at 2K resolution, though you can switch to 1080p gaming for even higher frame rates. Now my editor also used this laptop for our video editing needs and as the Puget benchmark scores suggest, the laptop is great for 4K video editing too. Alright, now I'm sure you guys must be wondering about the temperatures of this thing. See, for the most part, the temperatures on it are, well, pretty good. So for basic video editing or even 4K video editing, at the time of editing, the laptop stays cool. And same is the case for gaming. It's just when you try and push it, like basically if you're playing highly demanding games for a stretch, for instance, titles like Metro Exodus complete with the RTX on and everything, then the laptop does tend to heat up a little bit. And the same thing can be said for when you're trying to render projects. See, editing and all is fine, but when you start to render this thing, the fans do kick in because the temperatures do start to rise a little bit. Now, the peak temperatures that we recorded in our testing were somewhere around the 92 degrees Celsius mark, which honestly isn't that bad. And the good part here is that the fans here do perform very well in order to just bring the temperatures down very quickly. Of course, the trade-off with that is that the fans do get very loud. So if you are basically gaming or if you're video editing, it's always recommended to use a good pair of headphones. Lastly, there's the battery life. Now, the laptop comes with a 53.5 watt hour battery, which in our testing lasted barely 3 hours, which honestly is a little bit disappointing. I mean, I was kind of expecting at least 4 hours, which is the standard for this kind of a horsepower. But yeah, you get what you get. But the bigger problem is something else. See, 3 hours is fine for a gaming laptop like this. I mean, to some extent, I can still live with it. The problem is that the charger for this laptop uses a 16 ampere plug, and that basically limits the portability of this laptop because then you're restricted on what all locations you can use the charger for this laptop. So, the big question, is the MSI Pulse GL66 worth it? See, at the time of reviewing, this laptop, like this specific variant, is available for about 1.3 lakhs, which isn't that bad, to be honest. If you consider the overall package, you still get a nice MSI style design language, you get a good display, a reliable display. The keyboard is fine, you still get RGB lighting. Of course, there's no per key RGB lighting, but it's still a good keyboard. The touchpad is fine for your normal usage. The performance is obviously great, and MSI's cooler boost technology does a good job of keeping temperatures in check for the most part. The battery life could have been improved, but yeah, as an overall package, it's still pretty good. With that being said, for about the same price, you can also get the Lenovo Legion 5i, which we recently checked out on our channel. And that basically offers the same package, but you also get an improved keyboard, which is similar to the ThinkPad lineup, which we all know is the best keyboard. And you also get better battery backup. So yeah, make sure to check that out from the card over here and see which design you like more. And then maybe you can make a better decision. And well, that was it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more awesome tech content. Till then, this is Juan from GTR, and I'll see you in the next one.